Hey students, I welcome you all on the amazing platform of learning, which is Edvironment. So as soon as we have completed our 3 lectures of first chapter, Relief Features of India, and this lecture will be covering the further topics. So we will try to complete the chapter in this lecture. Even if not possible, we will concise it in a small lecture in one more or the last lecture. So without wasting any time, let us dive into the topic. So, as you know, everyone, we have completed the Himalayas, the Indo-Gangetic Plains, and our today's topic will be the Peninsular Plateau. If possible, we will be covering coastal plains, the desert, and the islands. So, as you observe here, one thing we have to point out, or one thing we have to figure out, what are deltas, what is Peninsular Plateau, and what is island. So, this is very important topic. Before starting our actual topic of the day, which is the Peninsular Plateau, we need to take some clarity upon this, what is peninsular and what is island and what are these terms actually, so that it will be clear to you in your upcoming classes also. So you can observe here what is island and what is peninsula. Island is the land area which is actually covered with the 4 sides of water, and whereas the peninsula is also the land area which is only covered by 3 sides of water, and it is attached to one side of mainland, that is peninsula. And do you know peninsula, the best example of peninsula is our country India is one of the best example of peninsula. In island you can consider various countries. Even Indonesia is also we can consider. So this is what the difference between island and peninsula. As it is mentioned here, island is an area of land surrounded on all sides of water, or we can simply say 4 sides of water. A peninsula is an area of land connected to mainland and surrounded on most 3 sides by water. So you can figure out from here, this is the peninsula which is surrounded by 3 sides of water, and this is surrounded by all sides of water. So this is what the small explanation of island and peninsula. Now we will try to figure out what is Gulf and Bay. So you can observe from here, when it comes to bay, it is actually a area of broad opening, and when it comes to Gulf, it is an area of narrow inlet. So we have one bay which is actually known as Bay of Bengal, and here we have 2 important gulf, which are Gulf of Khambat and the Gulf of Kutch. So you can directly point out. So these are the 2 important gulf, which is Gulf of Kutch and Gulf of Khambat. So this is what about bay and gulf, where gulf is actually a narrow inlet and bay is actually a broad outlet. And one more thing, whatever the gulf are there, they are shallow, or it means they are deeper. They are more deeper than the bay. So this is what about peninsula, island, gulf and bay. I hope you understood this one, that what is peninsular plateau. So now without wasting any time, we'll directly dive into the topic. So let us see here. Indian plateau is also known as the peninsular plateau. It is surrounded by the sea by 3 sides of water. So as we have discussed here, as we have discussed in the differences of plateau and island, you can figure out from here. So it is mainly composed of old crystalline and hard igneous and metamorphic rock. So if the questions comes like how the peninsular plateau is formed, your answer will be, it is mainly composed of old crystalline, hard igneous and metamorphic rocks. So this is very important line of the topic. You can figure out from here. It is mainly composed of old crystalline, hard igneous and metamorphic rock. So this will be your answer for the formation of Peninsular Plateau, or it's consistent. If the question is like what it consists in it, what it consists, so your question will be it is mainly composed of old crystalline, hard igneous and metamorphic rock. And you can even point out from here, large amount of metallic and non-metallic mineral resources are found in Indian Plateau. So what are metallic and non-metallic mineral resources are found here? It has broad and shallow valleys with rounded hills. The topography of the plateau is slightly tilted towards the east, and the western and eastern ghats from the western and eastern edges respectively. The southmost tip of the plateau is Kanyakumari. So what is this actually and what he is trying to tell, we'll discuss in one by one in a detailed way. So when it comes about the plateau, when it comes about the information of Indian Plateau or Peninsular Plateau, you need to remember three things here. That is its composition, that is its like whatever the things it is consist of, and the very important part of this one is western and eastern ghats, and what is the meeting point. As you saw here, the western ghats are slightly like at some height which is more than the eastern ghats. So you can figure out from here, these are from 900 to 1600 meters. And actually what is actually a ghat? Ghat is nothing but a continuous range of mountain. When it comes to western ghats, they are slightly higher than the eastern ghats. And one more thing, it is very important, western ghats are continuous mountain range. Western ghats are continuous mountain range, whereas the eastern ghats are discontinuous mountain range, or they are not continuous mountain range. I'll tell you what is the reason actually. As you know here, the western ghats are, in western ghats we can point out or we can figure out orographic rainfall. Orographic in the sense the rainfall which is caused by the mountainous range. So if there is a rainfall in the western ghats, we know that if the more rainfall is here, then the flow of water towards east. So it is clear to everyone, I hope. It is in the flow of eastern side. So when the rivers are flowing from west to east, most probably what they will do, they will cut down the areas of eastern ghats. And these cut down of the mountain ranges will lead to discontinuous range, or they are not continuous, because the flow of rivers from west to east side. So this is one common reason why eastern ghats are not continuous, whereas the western ghats are continuous mountain ranges. So I hope this is clear to you now. And let us see in detail explanation of western ghats and eastern ghats. And one more thing, it is very important here. When eastern ghats and western ghats are meet together at the southernmost point, or in the southernmost point, they are meeting at Nilgiri Hills. Or Nilgiri Mountains. They are meeting at Nilgiri Hills. And in the western ghats, Anaimudi is the topmost peak or highest peak, and in the eastern ghat it is Mahendragiri. As we have started discussion about plateau, but we could not define what is actually plateau in the sense. So you can figure out from here, plateaus are nothing but a kind of high land. So you can point out from here, identify central highlands. You can figure out from here, central highlands which are known as plateaus. So here you can find out central highlands which are actually known as plateaus. And as we are discussing about Peninsular Plateau, in the region of Peninsular Plateau, we can see it is consist of it is consists of two broad divisions, namely Central Highlands, which is actually Malwa Plateau, and the Deccan Plateau. So you can point out this one on the physical map of India. And one more thing is, whatever the Deccan Plateau is there, it is below the starting point of river Narmada. You can identify the Central Highlands. Prominent plateaus are Malwa Plateau on the west side and towards the east, and whereas the Chota Nagpur Plateau, in comparison to the Gangetic Plains, the Plateau region is dry. So as we have discussed earlier, whatever the Gangetic Plains are there, they are actually flow of continuous rivers. So with that, the land area is wet continuously, and whereas there are very least rivers, and we can say there are non-perennial rivers. It means they are not continuous. They are not continuous rivers, or they are not flowing continuously. Hence, the area of Plateau, it is dry. The region is dry. The rivers are not perennial, as it is mentioned here. You can see, and the irrigation for the second crop depends on the deep tube wells. So we know everyone that whatever the peninsular plateau is there, it is actually dependent on deep tube wells. And one more thing, it is given here, identify that rivers flow on the northern side of Central Highlands. Chota Nagpur Plateau is one more thing is given here about Chota Nagpur Plateau, which is very important in terms of if he's going to ask you 1 mark or in 2 marks column. So he will ask you what is the specification of Chota Nagpur Plateau. You can mention here Chota Nagpur Plateau is rich in mineral resources. So this is what about the Peninsular Plateau. Now we will discuss in detail like what are the things. So from here, whatever the diagram is given here about Peninsular Plateau. So you can point out it is a block diagram of Peninsular Plateau. You can observe, if I consider this is the southern edge of India, and you can point out here these are Western Ghats and these are Eastern Ghats, and whatever the middle portion is there, this is Deccan Plateau. But actually Deccan Plateau starts with the edge of Narmada, or in the boundary of Narmada river, where it is flowing from the Madhya Pradesh state. From there the Deccan Plateau starts, and here when the Western Ghats are continuing from the west side, and Eastern Ghats are continuing up to the edge of the south, up to the south tip of the India, both the tips will meet at a place where they are ending into Nilgiri Hills. So Nilgiri Hills is the meeting point of both the Ghats, which is Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. So as we have pointed out earlier, Western Ghats are slightly at some height comparing to the Eastern Ghats. So whatever the plains are there in east side, they are east coastal plains, and whatever the plains are there in the west side, they are west coastal plains. And one more thing you can figure out here, the cloud movement. The cloud movement is actually more in the side of Western Ghats, and whereas it is least in the side of Eastern Ghats. So we will be discussing about this thing in the upcoming chapters. You need to keep these things very clearly. And in the Plateau region, in the Deccan Plateau region, you can see the cloud movement is very less. So this is what the important observation of this block diagram. Before going to tell you something, we will see one more block picture or the block diagram of all the Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats, and actually what are the boundaries and what are the mountain ranges, what is Mahadev Kaimur range, and the origination of Narmada, whatever the Chota Nagpur Plateau is there. We'll see remaining all the plateaus in clear map, so that you will get an idea like how these plateaus are formed and how they are originated, and whatever the important aspects of these plateaus. You can also figure out from here, he is trying to ask you, he's trying to know you from like Malwa Plateau, Bundelkhand, Bhagelkhand, Rajmahal Hills, and Chota Nagpur Plateau. So these might be like very important questions when it comes to your board examination. So he might be picking up the questions from this portion only. So for that we should be prepared for this. So you can point out various plateaus here, like Deccan Plateau. So this is the whole triangular land which is, you can observe here, this is Deccan Plateau. In that you can find Karnataka Plateau, Deccan Plateau is here, it is mentioned, and Telangana Plateau and Dandakaranya Plateau. But 3 of these or 4 of these considered as Deccan Plateau only. But when it comes to the plateaus of Marwar Plateau in the Rajasthan and Malwa Plateau in some part of Madhya Pradesh and some part of Gujarat, Bundelkhand Plateau and Bhagelkhand Plateau and Chota Nagapur Plateau obviously in the region of Odisha, and one more thing is Shillong Plateau. So these are the prominent plateaus whichever you can observe here. And once you try to figure out from here, like these Bundelkhand or Bhagelkhand plateaus are actually in the region of Uttar Pradesh and some of the regions of in the edges of Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh. And one more thing, Chota Nagapur Plateau, which we have learnt already, which is rich in mineral resources. You can figure out it is in the edge of Odisha. And Shillong Plateau obviously in the state of Meghalaya, and we know the capital of Meghalaya, which is Shillong. So behalf of that, it is named as Shillong Plateau, and which is our most important topic which we are discussing about. So our Deccan Plateau is here. You can figure out with the help of triangular portion of the land area. So you can point out from here, when it comes to the northern edge of Deccan Plateau, you can find Satpura and Vindhya. And when it comes to Marwar Plateau, you can find here Aravalli mountain ranges. When it comes to Chota Nagapur, you can find out here also there are some mountain ranges. And when it comes to Shillong Plateau, you can find Garo and Kasi hills or mountain ranges. And in the Western Ghats also you can find Cardamom hills. So these are actually some important mountain ranges you can find in various plateaus. Now we will try to find out some important rivers in the northern area. So you can point out from here, when it comes to the eastern range or the Eastern Ghats, you can figure out here there are the river is Mahanadi, and in the Western Ghats also you can find the rivers, like in the topmost region you can find Tapati and Narmada. And for your kind information, I'll tell you here, so whatever the Narmada and Tapati rivers are there, they are the west flowing rivers. It means they are starting in east side and ending into west, or they are merging into Arabian Sea. But remaining rivers you can see Kaveri is there, Krishna is there, Godavari is there. They are merging into eastern side, or they are merging into the Bay of Bengal. So these are east flowing rivers, and here west flowing rivers. Two kinds of rivers in the Peninsular Plateau. One is west flowing rivers, one is west flowing, and another is east flowing. West flowing are originating in east and draining into west, and east flowing are originating in west and draining into east. So these are the two different kinds of rivers you can point out from here. Is the time to look at about the Peninsular Plateau and in detail. So you can figure out from here also, like when it comes to the Chota Nagapur Plateau and whatever the Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats are there, you can figure out here also. So you can see here Narmada river in the northern edge of the Western Ghats. Whichever the textbook information is there, it is also sufficient to figure out like whatever the important aspects are there. Okay, now let us see some more important concepts of this one, so that you will be getting the proper idea about this. So we will go in detail about reading each and every term or each and every line from here. So you can see here Western Ghats lie parallel to the west coast, or simply this region he is talking about. Simply this region he is talking about, western coast. Ghats is continuous with few passes at gateways to coastal plains. So there are few gaps, but not like the Eastern Ghats, whereas you can find continuous gaps in them. So Western Ghats are higher than the Eastern Ghats, as we have come to know about this one earlier, and you can figure out from here. Eastern Ghats, thus the Deccan Plateau region westward slope is seen. So you can see here these are tilted somewhat to the side of east. So the average range of Western Ghats is 600 kilometers. The Nilgiri hills join in Western Ghats and they rise to over the height of 2000 meters. The famous hill station is Udagamandalam, popularly known as Ooty, is located in the Nilgiris. Dodabetta is at the height of 2637 meters is its highest peak. So what in Dodabetta is the highest peak in Western Ghats. Western Ghats include Palani in Tamil Nadu, and Annamalai and Cardamom Hills in Kerala. So Anaimudi is actually the highest peak, which is actually 2695 meters of Annamalai Hills is the highest peak in South India. So this is some information about some information about Western Ghats. Now when it comes to Eastern Ghats extend from Mahanadi Valley. So as we have seen that the river in the north and to the Nilagiri in the south. However, Eastern Ghats are not continuous as we have discussed earlier. Rivers that originate in Western Ghats like Godavari, Krishna cut across as I shown you in the map. So plateaus and join Bay of Bengal. The average height of Eastern Ghats is nearly 900 meters. The highest peak in Eastern Ghats is Aromakonda, found at the Chintapalli. It is around 1680 meters in Andhra Pradesh. Nallamallas and Velikondas, Palakondas and Seshachalam are some of the hilly tracts of Eastern Ghats. So whatever the Nallamalla forest is there, like these are a few forests which are like important geographical features in the Eastern Ghats. One of the remarkable feature of the Peninsular Plateau is black soil formed due to volcanic activity.